From Nelson Sopery. Today I thought I would do my Sunday chat. Of course it is Monday because it has been crazy Christmas, and I'm sure all of you are going to agree that we've had a nice Christmas, a few days off, but I thought I'd have to bring this video because I have so many questions asked at the moment about bath bombs. So I thought I'm going to go through all the questions and give you the best answer I can. A disclaimer, as always, I'm no expert, but I am a professional soap maker, bath bomb maker, and of course we make candles. That's all a part of our business. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you just pop on that notification. There'll be a little bit of a bell, and then all you have to do is press the bell. And then we will get into our videos. Today I am shooting from my teenage daughter's room because my husband is building our decking out the back. So I thought, well, I have to do it from a different area so you guys don't hear that crazy noise. So I do have lots of videos coming up, but at the moment, like I said, let's get into a video all about bath bombs. So I'm going to look down as per usual because I do have lots of notes of lots of questions that you guys have asked me. And of course, even though this is live, do make sure that, I can, you'll be able to watch it, later on. And, look, I'm just going to say this, lots of you know this. If anybody puts a comment that's inappropriate, please nobody answer them back to give them that power, because we're not going to do that. We've had a few issues with that lately, and I don't want to stop the comments because I want you guys to be able to ask me questions. So we're just going to put up with that, aren't we, for the time being. Hi, Bronwyn. How are you, love? I hope you've had a lovely Christmas. I hope everyone can hear me loud and clear. So, and I know in the US, lots of you are probably just getting over Christmas because it's probably Boxing Day there. And in Australia, it's the day after Boxing Day. So, but like I said, let's get into this chat and we'll start to talk about bath bombs. Now, let me tell you, everybody, the amount of people that say, this little bath bomb is so easy, I'm going to make hundreds of them. Now, I'm going to have a bit of a laugh because you'll all know what I mean if you make a bath bomb. Bath bombs, honestly, are one of the hardest things to make in the whole soap. Oh, a very quiet Christmas, Bronwyn. Well, that's okay. Sometimes we need a quiet one, don't we? We don't do massive. We just do a Christmas Day lunch, and I try and keep it to that. And then we have a tradition of always having pancakes on Christmas Eve with just my children and me. So my husband, of course. So, yes, that was nice. But, yeah, so let's get into bath bombs. But like I said, this tiny little bath bomb, this is one of mine that I've made. One thing I'm going to tell everybody is they're not easy. A lot of people say to me, I've had people come to me and say, so-and-so has been making them for $1. And I'm like, I would never make them for $1. Do not sell your bath bomb for $1. They are so hard to make. And, it needs to be the right temperature, right humidity, right environment, right ingredients. The process has to be perfect. There is so many hard things to making bath bombs. So like I said, today I'm just going to answer lots of questions that I've been given. I think I've got 15 or 16 questions. So let's go through them and talk about it. And like I said, they are super tricky. They're not an easy thing to make. And sometimes, you'll make it and you'll think, oh, the bath bombs turned out really beautiful. And then a week or two later, you'll notice that bath bomb's kind of really powdery. Even if you seal it straight away, you'll notice it powdery. And the one thing that I will tell you is you'll probably notice mine are, I'll give you a quick look. This is just a broken one, actually, I'm showing you. But this one here is shrink wrapped. I shrink wrap them all because what it actually does is it just, keeps it airtight, and it actually stops the air getting in, because once air gets in, depending on where your environment is, that's when the bath bomb can turn powdery and things can go wrong or worse. Oh, hi, Leanne. How are you? Thanks for joining us today, love. I know lots of people won't because it's Christmas, and that's okay. Everyone can watch this whenever they feel like at a later date. But like I said, we're talking about bath bombs and the issues that you have with them. So like I said, sometimes they can go powdery later, but we'll get into why that happens, how we can kind of change that, and what we can do. And also I'll talk a little bit, but I won't mention names. Everyone will know who I mean. There's lots of very big bath bomb companies out there, and they have lots of tricks to kind of help that. And you'll notice some of the big bath bomb companies don't wrap them at all. They keep them you know, in their basically, you know, their natural state. But the thing is, they put lots of added chemicals and things like that to keep them, you know, in that beautiful state. So that's why. But for me, I don't do that. I really do try and keep them as natural as I can. I mean, of course, you got citric acid and things like that. That's not natural, is it? So, but, you know, we try and keep them as natural as we can. And I try not to add all the additives because my clients just don't seem to want that, which I totally understand. But there are things that you can add in to keep them like that. But as I said, I don't do that. So anyway, like I said, let's go through and answer a few questions as well. I wonder if shrink wrap. No, look, this is the thing too. That's a good question who just asked that. Lots of people say to me, you know, when you do shrink wrap on bath bombs, you know, do you need to like press a hole through it? No, you don't need to do that, because once you're putting a hole into the shrink wrap, the problem you're going to have with the bath bomb is then, of course, the air from the environment can get into it. So that's why it needs to be totally sealed with no holes at all. Oh, that's okay, Carly. You can watch this later, lovely. Anytime, no problem. It's just a bit of a sneak peek of me coming in. Yeah, I did formulate my own recipe, Bronwyn, after many, many fails, and I mean hundreds of fails and a fortune in bath bomb material that was wasted. That's why I just kept changing and changing. So you'll notice my recipe gets better all the time as I go along. And you know, look, if anyone's grabbing my recipes off there, or any YouTuber, do remember when you're grabbing the earliest ones off YouTube, they're the ones that haven't been, look, they still work, but they're not as good as my latest ones, because everyone gets better as they go along, including me and any YouTuber, no matter how much of a famous YouTuber they are or not, they do get better as they go along, you know. So that's something that I will definitely tell you. So make sure you go to the latest video of recipes for any YouTuber that you're watching and grab those ones, because they will have enhanced them after testing and trying and so on, and they're fine to use, the earlier ones. But like I said, you know, that you just do get better as you go along. So anyway, let's get into some questions. So that's my first bit of paper, because look, I have a million bits of paper here. So like I said, I'm just going to read them and go through a few questions. So this is something I've had a person ask, and oh my gosh, my heart feels sad sometimes. They say, look, you know, I feel like my recipe's amazing. They've created their own recipe, and they're saying, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and it's very, very frustrating. Look, honestly, that happens all the time. I still have some fails, and I don't have some fails. But generally, if I can give you the best advice, it's you need the humidity to be really good. So the best thing you can buy is one of those $2 or $3 little temperature gauges, and they're just like a little plastic thing this big. I've shown it in other videos before. My husband got one. I think he got it from just a little cheap department store or Amazon or something. You can get them too. And it will tell you the humidity, and it will tell you the temperature. The temperature isn't that important, but the humidity is. So you really want your humidity to be, I would say, no more than 55. Anything from 30 to 55 is really good, because once it starts getting too high, then what actually happens is too much moisture in the air, and then of course they can expand, or they just don't dry properly. And then often when they just dry funny, so then they can get cracks in them and just lots and lots of issues. So, you know, honestly, like I said, the best thing is, you know, getting one of those little one of the little things that tells you the humidity in the air, the temperature, and then also after that, if you can afford it, a dehumidifier, because honestly, it's game changing. And some of them are really cheap. You don't have to have a $500 one. I started off with a $69 one from Amazon, and what I did is I made sure that I was making my bath bombs in a small area. So that way that dehumidifier worked, because it only covered a really small area. So yeah, so they're sort of things that really are game changing. So like I said, if it doesn't work, it's usually like I said, the environment, the temperatures and everything are wrong, or it's your process. And I know when you sort of get, you do lots of bath bombs and you get into the whole thing of bath bomb making, the biggest problem that I find for myself is you kind of get, a bit of, what's the word, complacent, I think, because what happens is oh, yeah, the game changer is, yeah, it is. You're right, Bronwyn. She's just saying that it's a game changer getting a hand press, and it's right. But the thing is, too, even if you're not using a hand press and you're just doing it by hand, like this typical bath bomb mixture, the problem is it's just the environment, your processes, and everything else. And what happens is we think, oh, we're really good at it, and then we just miss a step, and then you think, oh, no, what have I done? So that's the problem, that you really need to have an environment where no one's around you. Just concentrate by yourself, because when I don't concentrate, it's really hard, and that's when I usually bugger them up. So that's the one thing that I will definitely tell you to, just really think about the whole process, because I've even had people say to me, I've got your recipe, it doesn't work. Well, the one thing I'll say, it does work. The problem is the process. Just because someone's grabbing my recipe, it doesn't mean they're following it exactly as I would. And you really do need to have the measurements pretty spot on, because if you step out of them, it could mean there's too much powder mixture or not enough oils and so on, so that it can dry out fast and all those kind of issues. So anyway, like I said, if sometimes it doesn't work, don't stress too much. It happens to the best of us, so you just kind of got to go again. And for me, it'd be a bit of a disaster, because I make mine in usually, I think it's works out to be 3.5 kilo lots. So then you're kind of a bit devastated because you've ruined the whole thing, and it costs money as well. Another question was, how do I choose a good recipe? Well, honestly, a good recipe is testing. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Any recipe I give you, you should test before you sell it or give it away. Even though I'm giving it to you, it's working in my environment, for my process, and for my experience. So you do need to test these for yourself, because, if you're in other areas, it may not work so much. Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you. You're so nice. Lots of people say, they can't wait to try the recipes and give them a go. And do give them a go. And you can halve the recipes as well. So do make sure, just make sure that you're halving your recipes. If you want to make a small batch, because like I said, I do make them in big batches as well. And I think there's been a few recipes where I've given smaller batches as well, so you can give it a go. And you don't have to give it a go in a hand press. You can do it by hand. The recipes and everything that I give you, yes, I do use a mixer now and things like that, but you can do it all by hand if you need to. It's just going to take you longer, and it's because I do wholesale that I need to use machines now. And when I say machines, it's just like a mixing machine or a hand press or something to make it a little bit faster as well. So like I said, a good recipe will, definitely be working in your environment. In Australia, for me, I'm talking, I don't use alcohol in my recipes because I don't like it, and I don't want to sell a bath bomb with it. And to be honest, I think once you take the alcohol out, people are more willing to pay more money for the bath bomb, because they think, well, there's jojoba oils in it, apricot kernel oils, and it's a much nicer thing. If it was for my little grandbabies or my own children, I wouldn't want oh, yeah, someone's just saying you can put goat's milk in. That's true, you can. So, yeah, I wouldn't want my little grandbabies or my children to bathe in alcohol. So, and that actually can really irritate people with eczema. So that's why as well. Oh, thank you, lovely. Merry Christmas to you, sweetheart. I hope everyone's had a really lovely one as well. So that's why I don't put alcohol in mine, and mine isn't oil-based, but it doesn't mean it's the right one for you. Like I said, test it in your environment and see if that works as well. So now the other thing is, why do my recipes differ, which I kind of stepped on that, because some people say to me, oh, but your recipe 6 months ago is different to now. And that's what I say to everyone. You get better as you go along. You change your recipe for your environment. So for instance, there's a recipe I give you using teaspoon measurements. Oh, yeah, you definitely can use them without alcohol, Bronwyn. I started with alcohol and hated it. So that's why I got out of it. Sorry, I'm just going to flick some other messages off from TikTok on there. So, yeah. So, and now I don't use alcohol at all in any of my bath bombs. I don't like it, and it really will flare eczema up. So, so if you put alcohol, you do need to put a warning on that with eczema, because it 100% will do it. And I know because one of my daughters is a severe sufferer of eczema. So it definitely flares that up. And like I said, my recipes will change because you get better, and also in your environment. So one of my recipes is using teaspoons. That one's good for autumn and winter. But in spring and summer, change the teaspoon to a tablespoon of the same measurements, but just use a tablespoon, because, of course, in summer, the oils and everything will evaporate faster, and it will dry out faster. So that's why you need to use more in summer. So, but I will bring out a summer recipe, hopefully next week, because I'll be making, I'll be actually showing you how to do what I call a colour bomb. So it'll be a big 220 gram bath bomb with a colour bomb in it. So I'll show you how to do that as well. Now, so, and this is something too, people have said to me, can I use your recipe and change the oils? Look, you can, but you're not going to have the same outcome. Because remember, any oil you change is different. So for instance, I use apricot kernel oil in my bath bombs along with jojoba oil. They're a much lighter oil. They have different benefits in the oils as well, and that's why I use them. And I know jojoba oil is really expensive, and that's why you'll see I only use 1 tablespoon per batch of 3 kilos, because it does add on the price, and then people don't want to pay that. And when you're wholesaling, like for me, I wholesale my bath bombs for under $3, because people are buying them in 1,000 lots or something at times. So, you've got to be realistic too. You can't just be making 10 cents a bath bomb. You've got to be making a couple dollars to make it worth your while. So I would definitely suggest to keeping to those. If you add things like shea butters or coconut oil, I've seen lots of them made with those, or cocoa. The thing is, they're a much heavier material as well. So that means that your bath bomb's going to struggle to spin. So, and I did actually buy some from some lovely makers. I bought quite a few different things from different makers on the internet, and I will tell you that's definitely what happens. You can put it through a calculator, but I actually don't know of a calculator that you can use for bath bombs. There may be one, I don't know, but I've never seen a calculator for bath bombs, only for soap making. So yeah, so I would definitely say just try it. If you want to change a different oil, do it, but I wouldn't be using oils like olive oils or things like that, because they're too heavy. So yeah, so that's the only thing. I definitely wouldn't be using a heavy oil. Look into the oil and try and find an oil that is a lighter oil. Even hemp oil, that's really popular to use as well. But all the coconuts and that, I wouldn't use them, because you're going to lose the spinning effect of the bath bomb. And really, that's what the kiddies want. They want it to spin and float and do rainbow things and so on. So yeah, so that's something that I thought we'll touch on. So the next question is going into that, I guess. Why won't my bath bomb spin? I get, honestly, that many questions. I mean, I had probably, honestly, over 100 questions on why won't the bath bomb spin. It won't spin because it's too heavy. So, or you don't have enough citric acid. So you need to put at least 50% of citric acid to the bicarb. So if you're putting a kilo of bicarb, you need to put half a kilo of citric acid. And if you put SLSA, that actually, if you put lots of SLSA, what it does is it foams the bath, but it actually stops it spinning as much. So put a really tiny bit of SLSA. So in my 3 kilo lot, I put like half a teaspoon of SLSA. That's all I use, because otherwise there is too much in it, and then it foams and it won't do what you want it to do. So that's definitely something that I say. And also, like I said, if you get a bath bomb like this one here, for instance, this is a big bath bomb. So this is really heavy, so it is going to sink a bit more. It's not going to spin like a round one. Really, the round ones are the spinners. And if you get one like this, which is 130 grams, they're the best spinners because they're lighter. And this is perfect for a kid's bath. I mean, look, if you're going to have a bath for yourself and you kind of want roses and everything else, I would definitely suggest maybe a 200 gram bath bomb. But for half a bath of water, this is fine for the kids as well. One thing that I get asked is another question, how do I get that ring around the bath bomb? So if I can show you, can you see the little satin ring? Like I said, this is my dud one, so please don't pay attention. So yeah, even I have duds. Something happens, this one's not very good. But, it's got the ring around the outside. So when you're using it, you need to have like a press. And basically it means you've got the top and the bottom, and it's going into the tube of the cylinder because you've got the tube. So what actually happens is the tube is holding and compacting that material all the way around the outside. You're never going to get that with a basic one as well. Hi, Joe. How are you, darling? Welcome. So, like I said, if you've just got, I don't have anything here to show you, but, pretend these are your bath bombs and you're just going to squish them together like this by hand, you're never, ever going to get a satin ring, because the thing is, you're literally squishing all of the powder out them to join the molds together. So it's actually that little tiny bit of extra material inside the tube molds, which are, like your Cater molds or things like that, or express molds, because that's the bit that's, that little bit of extra that you can see when you're sort of dusting it off, that becomes your satin ring. So you won't be able to get the satin ring if you don't have extra material in it. And honestly, that comes back down once again to, like just testing it, making it, and seeing how much material you need per mold, because every mold is totally different. But, like a mold like this, if I'm going to press this straight into one, this was a vacuum seal mold. So this wasn't, a three-piece mold. So your three-piece mold is what gives you the satin ring. But one like this, which is a vacuum seal mold, all that is just basically a plastic mold. That one's not going to give you the satin ring because, like I said, you need the three-piece mold. So now, this is a thing too that people ask me, why. So if they dye it, for instance, pink like this, they're saying, why isn't my mold holding up? Like, why is the colour going away? If you're using water-soluble dyes, and that's what, you get the colour in the bath, the water-soluble dye, it actually is, it doesn't love sun. So it has a really, really big issue with the sun. It's sun sensitive. So once the sun starts to hit it, it actually starts to suck the color away and gets rid of the color. So to stop losing the color, what you need to do is add a little bit of mica, and that will also, so this has mica as well as water-soluble dye. So if the sun hits it, it will go a little bit lighter pink, but it's still going to hold its pink because the mica is not going to lose its color with the sun. But of course you do need the water-soluble dye to make the water colourful, because mica is not going to make the water colourful. So it's kind of, you need to add a couple different things as once. And, one thing that I've had a few people, I don't use liquid dyes, honestly, I don't. So I can't give anyone an answer on liquid dyes. The only ones I do is the powders, when you mix your powder with water. So they're water soluble, because I just felt that they were better and wouldn't stain as much. Only my opinion, I might be wrong. But anyway, it's something that I thought about. And, look, some people say to me, why aren't yours like hot, hot pink? Honestly, it's just my business. You can make them hot pink if you want, but my customers didn't want them super, super bright because they didn't want their kids having so much bright. The more you put in, the more polysorbate 80 you need to put in to disperse the colours and to make sure it doesn't stick on the bath. And there's nothing worse than opening a bath bomb and just taking it out of the plastic and literally holding it in your hand, and then it stains your fingers because there's too much dye in it. So there is such a thing as too much. But you've got to fiddle around with that and choose exactly how bright you want your bath bombs to be or not. And you can see that mine are more like a pastel kind of color. So these are sort of the colors that I would be looking at. I would not be looking at a hot, hot pink, because that's just not something that my brand is doing. So hopefully that kind of answers your questions on that. And now when we talk about colours, you can use, as somebody said, you can use a liquid dye, you can use water-soluble dyes, which is a powder, and you add the water, or you can use a mica, or you can use food dye. I wouldn't suggest food dye, but if you're just doing it at home for your own kids, that's okay. But you still need to add polysorbate ADM because it will stain the bath. Food dye does stain it. So I do suggest that you buy reputable materials from bath bomb companies. There's so many. You've got Bath Bomb World, you've got Sud Off. This is in Australia I'm talking about. You've got Aussie Soap Supplies, you've got the candle supplies, Aussie Candles. There's just so many. I think Pure Candle Supplies are going to be bringing in some colours soon. But, there's just so many different ones that you can use. So just look around, and find the colours that suit you and give a bit of a practice. And lots of these sites, even like Aroma and so on, they'll actually give you ideas of how much you should use as well. So go and link onto those. They have some freebies, free things that you can look onto them and get information. Now also, so if your bath bombs came out grainy, I'll talk about that in just a minute. So because I'll try and go through my questions, but I'll give you the answer to that. I promise I will, because I know that's happened to me lots of times. So now number 10 is fragrances and essential oils. So lots of people say, should I use a fragrance or essential oils? Now, people always have this, and I've talked about this before. They think essential oil means natural. Well, yes, it's more natural, but it's still going through a process. It's not deemed natural because it's going through a process. All of these things go through a process. You don't just get it out of the ground, which to me is natural. It does need to go through a steam distillation and so on. So, and the Australian chemicals, I can't remember, I did say this once before, their website, but it's like the Australian Chemicals and Reaction website. They actually go in and talk about the legals on that as well. So it isn't deemed natural, even though it's kind of a tricky situation. And I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a chemist, so I won't give advice on that. But like I said, choose which one you want to use. Most of the ones from Pure Candle Supplies I use are a much higher tier level of fragrance oil. So they have essential oils in them and fragrance. They have the two. And when we're talking about fragrances, some bottles for a 500 ml bottle can be $17 to $20. Some of them, like the ones I buy from Pure Candle Supplies, the more expensive level, they're $65 a bottle. So they're really expensive. But that's just because I want to create that high level product. But once again, like I said, that's just where I'm going with my business, but you don't need to do that. You can use the basic ones as well. So hopefully that helps. Now, is there a time limit for a bath bomb? Yes, definitely there is. This bath bomb is not going to stay hard forever. It's not. I would say 8 to 9 months would be your limit on a bath bomb. Look, I've had bath bombs for 2 years that are fine, but that depends on the product you're going to use. If you are putting Epsom salts in your bath bombs, and if you are also putting things like shea butter in your bath bombs or coconut oil in your bath bombs, they'll last less amount of time because there's butters in them that will be seeping through them as well. And also, if you're putting cornstarch, that makes your bath bombs powdery in time. They won't last very long. They'll only last about 4 to 5 months. Someone else might have a different experience, but from my experience, that's how they last. And I know because I used to use corn flour in them. Some of my earlier recipes will tell you that, until I ended up testing and found a better way for mine. Now, this is the question that somebody asked before about the bath bombs being grainy. So this question is, are all bicarbs and citric acids the same? Absolutely not. They're absolutely not the same. Now, a lot of people I've seen a few comments said to me about buying from N Essentials. That's where I buy mine from. And people have said they're expensive, and you're 100% right. They are expensive, but their grade of bicarbonate soda and citric acid is, so much better than 99.9% on the market. Yes, it is a lot more expensive. You can go and get one from a pet store that might be $40 a bag, and whereas, you might pay $75 a bag from N Essentials. But I'm telling you, to get a bath bomb that is not grainy, you need to use a better quality bicarbonate soda, or you need to use a better quality citric acid. If your citric acid is quite grainy, you can actually just grind it down. So you can use, like your typical mortar and pestle to grind it down if you're doing just something for your kids at home. But if you're doing it professionally, I put it through just, your typical grain. You can put it through a coffee grinder or anything like that. So, but yeah, definitely grind them down if it's too thick, because it will just leave it kind of looking bumpy on the outside, like an earth ball kind of bumpy. But yeah, I definitely suggest that you use a higher quality one. And two, the difference with N Essentials, and by the way, I am not sponsored by them. I don't know them. I don't know the owners or anything like that. I just buy their products. But the bicarbonate soda definitely does not become clumpy like a lot of other ones that I've seen as well on the market. Oh, hello, Sue. Merry Christmas, sweetheart. I hope you've all had a lovely one. So I've had a couple of days off, but because our stores had up to 75% off, which it's still got it on there for this week, for some things we're trying to sell off because we're going down a new avenue, which I'll talk about maybe in another video. But yeah, so we're selling off lots of things, and it's just been crazy. So I've had to keep doing the website and keep packing orders. So last night I was up packing about 10 orders or something. So I have to do some more orders, maybe at the end of today as well. So I'm very lucky that so many people love what we do and have been buying them. So I haven't really had that much of a break. And as you all know, I had to deal with all the things with my dad before that. So it's just been, you know, I'll get a break maybe in the new year sometime. So, but I don't mind. I do love what I do, so it's fine. Now, another thing people ask me, should I put toys in a bath bomb? Look, you can put them in a bath bomb, but you really need them in those little plastic balls, because if you put the toy in, often the toy will expand or something, and then the problem you've got is it kind of moves the bath bomb mixture. I don't put them in mine because my insurance wouldn't cover that. And then there's a choking hazard. You need to have more warnings on them and so on. So do look into your insurance if you're going to add toys or rings or anything like that into bath bombs. I personally just think a bath bomb's a bath bomb. So yeah, just let it be a bath bomb. And if you do put a ring in it, you do need it in the ball, because the citric acid will eat through the cheap metals. So yeah, because it is very strong, citric acid. So that's something that you need to think about as well. And now this is something as well. People have said to me, should I wholesale or not? Look, wholesaling is not for everyone. I'm going to be honest. It's not. It's really hard work for a quarter of the amount of money. You know, honestly, it is. So even myself, when I'm selling 500 lot bath bombs, that is so much work. For me, because I'm just a one-person show, it's me making everything that I do, like absolutely everything I make by hand. So you can imagine making hundreds and hundreds of products, plus having a YouTube and wholesale and retail customers. It's huge and it's so much work. So, you know, like when I first started wholesale, I thought, oh, I'm just going to do this. And I honestly, I'm going to be honest here, everyone, I never, ever thought somebody would buy the 500 lot of bath bombs. And then when I just kept selling more and more, there was times that I had 2,500 bath bombs to make. And I thought, oh, no, what am I going to do? So it's very stressful. Oh, can I talk about the seminar or the conference? Of course I can. Yeah, I sure will. Yeah, I'll talk about that at the end of this, if that's okay. So basically, what was I talking about, Nassie? Oh my gosh. I've got to laugh because I'm honestly hopeless sometimes. Wholesale, that's what we're talking about. So yeah, so I never thought so many people would buy it. So you've got to be really prepared. And honestly, I've had to work about 16 hours a day some days to get them out the door, because I just had that many orders near Christmas, and I never thought people would buy that many orders from me. And in 2022, we're stepping up our game. So I'm looking into getting some professional boxes made for my candles, and we'll start with some sleeves. So we'll make some sleeves and get them done. And I'll show everyone how I'm going with that as well as I go along. I'm about to kind of do those, and as you all know, I make everything through Canva. So yeah, so I'll be doing that. So think about wholesale. It's not for everyone. 100% it's not. And you need to buy a massive bulk. I've had to spend thousands of dollars on bulk material. So you kind of have to have that money behind you. And I didn't do that to 3 years, because I've been doing this for 3 years. So it's taken me a number of years before I even thought of wholesale. So I'll definitely be keeping wholesale going. It's definitely a good thing for me. And I do have lots of shops buying my products. But once again, like I said, you need to think about that, and you need to make people understand that there's going to be a month wait. At the start, I didn't do that, so I had to work all the time. But yeah, definitely. Oh, hi, sweet. How are you, darling? Thanks for joining us. Yeah. So like I said, do make sure that you're really kind of thinking about everything as well. Like I said, do make sure that you're 100% thinking whether it's working for you, and you need to have all your ducks lined up, so to speak, meaning that you need all of the wholesale, bicarbonate soda. So like, for instance, I had to buy 10 massive 25 kilo bags of bicarbonate soda, 10 bags of the citric acid, and so on, just to do the wholesale orders. And then that was about $1,000 just to start with. I think maybe it was more than 1,000 actually, because I think I spent 1,000 for the first order, then I went back, spent another 700. So it was almost 2,000 just in materials. And no, we don't all have that at the start, and I would not have had that years ago. So it's taken me a long time to get to that. So like I said, that's something that I just thought I'd talk about as well. And now while we're on that, we'll talk about another question. Lots of people ask me, what should I charge for my bath bomb? To give you an idea, this is my little bath bomb. It's 130 grams. I charge around $6 for this bath bomb. So, and that's not super expensive. You can charge $6.95. And one company that I really love, and I've followed them for a long time, is called Bath Box. And they're an Australian company. They kind of remind me like of an Australian Lush, and I love them. I love their concept, and that they started in their garage, just making bath bombs. So a big shout out to them, because they are really amazing. So everyone check them out. And some of their bath bombs are about $10, I think, a bath bomb. Yeah, that's right. So, look, so this is the thing as well. Like I said, do make sure you're not charging too little. So about $6, I'd say. And then for the big ones, you can charge $10 or $12. I think Bath Box charge about $9.95, I think, for about a 200 gram, which is, almost double this size, isn't it? Almost, bath bomb. Even ones like this, you can be charging $10 a bath bomb. I do wholesale a lot, and I know that a lot of these ones are about the $12 in store. But you've got to choose for your own company. And so what you need to do is add up all your pricing, and then you need to times it by 4 for retail, or times it by 2 if you're going to wholesale. So for instance, this bath bomb alone, the material is about 90 cents, plus add the plastic, plus add your time and anything else. So realistically, the cheapest you're going to make this for is about $1.10. So then, of course, you need to times it or more. But if I make this in my higher quality fragrance oils, then it's probably going to cost me $1.50 a bath bomb. So then I need to charge $3 wholesale. So, and I've upped my wholesale because, when you start, you don't know, you kind of got to feel how it works. So don't be scared to change your price if it's wrong, because there's no good making it and you make zero money. I mean, that's just dumb, isn't it? So, so don't feel scared to do that. It's your business. You're setting the theme. So if you have a wholesale client and they carry on and say, hey, you had your prices cheaper, well, you need to say, I'm sorry, but I'm not making enough money. It's not going to be viable for me. So you just need to be honest. You need to be fair, but you also need to be fair for yourself as well as fair for your customers. That's the one thing I've learned lately, that I have to be fair to me, because, like I said, I'm working around the clock for not enough money. So you do need to start to. So, for instance, when I wholesaled, it was a lot less as well. Oh, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I do everything, Joe. Everything from doing my own website, like my Shopify. I do everything on there myself. I don't pay anyone. I do my own taxes, although I do have an accountant at the end of the year that does the rest for me. But the same as, the bath bombs, the soaps, everything I make. But that's just because I'm passionate. But honestly, I think next Christmas I'll have to hire somebody at Christmas time to help me out. And my secret little goal this year, so hopefully you guys will see me, is to do a pop-up store in a Westfield store. But we'll see if I can do that. But that is my goal for this year. We've all got to set a goal, even if it's unrealistic. There's no good setting a goal that you're going to be a millionaire in 12 months, because it's not going to happen unless you're super lucky. But, set a realistic one as well. Do you use your Cricut to make boxes? No, because they're not strong enough. I just feel like they're not strong enough, and it's too expensive as well. Pick me. Hi, Sue. That is so sweet of you. Yeah, look, honestly, I didn't want to have another worker. I've had workers before in my other business and I just didn't want to do it. But honestly, I mean, I can't do everything. I've got to be honest with myself. So, yeah, so anyway, so that's my goal. But hopefully, my goal, fingers crossed, this year is, like I said, to work. In a Westfield, just to open a pop-up, not permanent, just a little pop-up to see how I go and what people think of my products, but we'll see. So, and like I said, so we've gone about that. One thing that I get asked, do I have to use Polysorbate 80? I don't want to use it. Well, yes, you do need to use it because you can be sued if you don't. If you don't use that and then you stain someone's bath and ruin their bath, imagine what it's going to cost to pull that bath out and put a new one in. So I definitely suggest that. But on the back of the warnings, which I've started doing, is saying discoloration or, products may stain temporarily, products or whatever, because people even carry on if you stain their towel or, the foot mat when they step out of it. And I actually bought one from a lovely lady and it was a beautiful bath bomb, and it had charcoal in it, but the charcoal and the black stained all my white Adair's towels. Now, it was fine for me because I would never take that further, but somebody else probably would complain about that. So yeah, think about that, everyone. Please think about that because that sort of, can make us come unstuck. People always say, what bath bombs sell the best? Honestly, this size is the best seller for me. I sell so many of them. I'm going to say maybe this year I've sold, I'm going to make a guess at about 4,000, maybe 4,500 at this size, maybe. That's not all retail because that's wholesale too. So yeah, but ones like this year, you sell them every now and then, but they're not big sellers. And this one was a vacuum seal one. And if you can see the letter, I don't know whether you can see, but often they get a tiny crack in the letter. So the ones with the letters are the hardest ones. So I won't be doing this one after I get rid of this last one. And that's why I've done a lot on my website to change it. So now we've talked about a lot of those issues. So hopefully a lot of those help as well. If your bath bombs are cracking, it means you need to add more liquid or oils into that. It means it's dried out too fast because you only have about 20 minutes when you've got an oil recipe from when you start to when you make it. So, and don't make it when it's 40 degrees or anything. It's too hot and that won't work. So, that's what I mean about temperature. Don't start it when it rains, when it thunders, because that, even though we don't realize it, it just brings more moisture into the air. So, and then no matter how much dehumidifiers you have on, honestly, I never make it in the rain ever. So, it's just not a good thing. I've done it before and it's ended in disaster. So yeah, so don't do that as well. And you know what? People say to me about the flat bottom. Sometimes I get them too. That's why my husband is trying to design a bath bomb holder, which hopefully this year we'll have that up and going. But there's a lot of testing before we have any of those. So, yeah, so that's something we probably will end up selling it. Maybe, I don't know. He was making it for me, but lots of people have asked me for one if he makes it. So now let's talk about... Oh, hello. Oh, you're from the US. Yeah, you caught my live. I know every now and then I do them and sometimes I don't, kind of organise them. But I just thought, look, it's a holiday. Lots of people will be home and maybe this will help you guys when you're all making some bath bombs. So we'll talk about my conference, as a few people have asked, which isn't just my conference. It's an Australian Candle and Soapery conference. So we started this conference this year. Setting it up this year. So the first year that everything is going to be happening, sorry, I'm just wiping things off. So the first year that we'll have one is in March this year. So you can just go over to the website, which is the Australian Candle and Soapery Conference.com. And then you can get all the information. You can buy the tickets on there. I think, honestly, we only have 20 something left for physical tickets. But if you're in another country, you can buy a live ticket. So we'll Zoom you in and you'll get all the details to be able to Zoom you in for the day, which is going to be, really, really great for all of you. So, yeah, so do make sure that you do that. Oh, thank you, Joe. I know lots of people say they love the lives. When I first started doing it, I wasn't sure if anyone was even going to pop up. So, but I do get a lot watching the lives, a lot of them. So, So yeah, thank you everyone. I do appreciate your support because, you know, this little baby channel couldn't go without your support. Everyone watching the videos is what actually gives us enough money to keep this going, because it costs money for me to make the products and everything. Sometimes I make products just for you guys. That's it. And I don't actually sell them. So it's not always just for me to sell it either. But with the conference, like I said, just log on to that and you can buy a ticket. So I think there's there's under 25, I think maybe 23 or 24 tickets or something left for to be there at the venue, and we will be giving away a lot of prizes. There's up to $5,000 in prizes, and even online people can win some of those prizes too. There's a few extra ones that will be given away, and on the day, I think it's $229 to come for the physical ticket. That gives you morning tea, afternoon tea, a full buffet lunch, and drinks, so it covers everything. As well as there will be a workshop on candle making, there'll be a workshop on soap making and how to do this professionally. Also, we'll have suppliers there that will be giving away products to people. So there'll be lots of prizes just be given away. You don't even need to win the prize. Everyone that turns up physically will be getting probably about $100 worth of gifts, because I have all the other suppliers giving you things, which is just amazing. I'm so lucky to be able to get all that happening. And this year, it's, you know, it's always going to be in the day, but we are thinking after this year, maybe we might even do, we might do it more like sort of a cocktail party event, so that it will be a nighttime award-winning event, because we will be giving awards away every year. So if you want to enter, you don't have long to go. We need to have everything in by January. So all you need to do, take a picture of your products, or you can go online, love. You can buy a ticket online, and then you'll be able to be involved and see everything as well. And all of the online people, you'll get an ebook. So everyone else physical will get a proper book, but you'll get an ebook as well. And that ebook will have recipes and everything in it as well. So I'm still working on that. And I've funded all of this myself, so I actually don't make any money. People always have said to me, you know, do you make money? I'm like, no, I don't. Honestly, there's no money in a conference. You just do it to help. So, and I really hope this helps. So it's a conference on small business, how you can get into small business, how you can actually succeed, and how this is going to work. So we will not be Zooming it live to people that don't have a ticket. You do have to have a ticket. If you have a ticket, you'll be able to watch the recording back as well. We'll have a very small portion of, you know, like, so we'll have a very small portion of, you know, the day on my channel. So we will do snippets of it. But of course, I'll always be giving free recipes on here. I'll never take that away. So you don't need to worry about that. It just means it's more in a book form and things like that. Oh, thank you. Yeah, lots of people have just found my channel. It's really starting to grow this year. I think we're over 3,000 followers now, which is really, really exciting. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I actually think the best thing is it's exciting for Australian businesses, because lots of you girls in the US probably don't realize, but Australia is really small. We don't have the population for our business to grow really big like you do in the US. It's so much harder. It's like 100 times harder to have a business in Australia, because we just don't have that. And shipping to the US cost like $75 for a parcel, because it's heavy. So, you know, it's really hard. So we can't even really ship there because people don't want to pay the postage. So it's very, very difficult. But anyway, if any of you want to, like I said, buy a ticket, whether it's online ticket or whether, you know, it's a physical ticket for the conference, just go over there. And on all of my videos now, you'll see there is a link to that website. So just go down the bottom in the description, and you'll see the link. After this, I'll put the link on this one as well for you. And then all you do, like I said, is just go over there, look at all the information. It will tell you everything, but it's going to be an amazing event. And I have some really good guest speakers. I have Deluxe Shea Butter, and they are a global company of shea, cocoa, and so on. And I buy all of mine in massive big boxes from them. So they will actually be there as well, and they'll have all the products for everyone to see. And anyone buying an online ticket, it will be Zoomed all day. So you'll see the Zooming the whole time. So it's like a 6-7 hour event. So yeah, you'll definitely be able to go on there as well. Yeah, you're right. You're right. One of the ladies was saying, she's in South Australia, it's really hard to set up a business in Australia. Honestly, so hard. And not just Australia, but even the world. It's really hard for small people like all of us to set up a business because, this is one thing. I know we're going off bath bombs, but I'm going to tell you this. I was actually talking to somebody a little while ago who has one of those companies where, you pay them and they help you with SEO and so on. And he was saying some of these big companies spend $50,000 a month, sometimes $100,000 a month to get their brand into the market. So can you imagine a little person like us? We're never going to be able to compete with that. You will never, ever be in front of those people. Yeah, going to have to come to the conference. The conference is going to be amazing. I've worked so hard to get these big companies to help teach us and teach us about growth, how you get there, what you do, community, it's honestly, most of it's about growth. That's something that I'm really big on. Yeah, that's right. I understand what you're just saying, about chasing your tail the whole time. It's so hard in small business. That's why we need a conference. And I really feel that a lot of conferences is people just, like big companies selling their thing. We're not about doing that. It's not about big companies selling their thing. We actually want to show people how to make it in business. So I've even got, a business expert coming, and he's going to talk about how you make it, what you do, the strategies, the funnels. So this will be free, after, like I said, on it, because you're buying a ticket. But then this is going to be something that you'll do, and he's going to give away, somebody will be winning, and they can win it online no matter what country you're in, a $2,500 business course for free. So somebody will be able to win that. So we'll see, that will be given away. And like I said, whether your ticket's online or physical, you can still win that prize. So that's going to be a really game-changing thing, because I've learned so much from him, which is Kevin. And all the different companies' names will be on it. So just go and check out, like I said, on the conference papers, and go through all the pages, and you'll see all the information on what we're going to be doing on the day. So yeah, I think eventually it's going to be really like a black tie kind of event in the evening. But this year we're going to just do a day event, and we're going to see how it's going to go. And it is at the Brighton Hotel, so a beautiful event as well. Growth is very, very hard. You're right, Teresa. That growth is so hard. And, this is what I want to teach people. So, honestly, the event, there's definitely events to the conference on my other videos as well. So what happens if you have an online ticket, you'll actually be sent an email. You'll be contacted by email. You'll be sent all of the information 2 days before. So you'll get your e-booklet that you'll be able to read through. And then you'll be able to get all the different little bits and pieces on it, and you'll be able to watch it live. If you don't get it live, it's okay. Then, your internet's playing up, you'll be able to log on, and we'll give you a log on so that you'll be able to save it to your computer the whole day. So, yeah, so that's something that will be really, really exciting. And I'm really excited to look into it. And we're going to grow each year as we go along. So the second year is probably going to be a 2-day event, because I think we need that to show people growth, how you do it, how you start. And I'll be giving away a few tips of how I did it too. So, yeah, look, that's the thing too, and I know it costs money to go to these things. It does cost a lot of money to go to these conferences, but unfortunately it costs a lot of money to run it. That's the hardest thing. It does cost me a lot of money. And like I said, I actually funded the whole lot myself. If I could have given it away for free, I definitely would have done it. But we can't, unfortunately. So like I said, honestly, I'm not making any money at all. I'm definitely not making any money. All of the money is put straight into this conference. Because, the awards cost money, the dinner costs money, the event costs money. I even have to pay quite a lot of money just to hold it in that venue. The books cost money to print. It's just so many things. So I hope everyone understands that it's not a money-making scheme for me. It definitely is not. There's no money in it. It is honestly just getting everyone there and trying to help everyone, get their businesses off the ground and see how we go. So I really hope I help everyone. But like I said, I will put a bit on YouTube, but obviously I can't put most of it on there. It'll only be a very small video on there because that wouldn't be fair to people that are paid to do it. And I actually do need people to buy a ticket because otherwise we'd have to close the whole event, because buying a ticket actually keeps it open and pays for everything that we need to teach it. And I did originally think of doing something just on the YouTube channel, but I couldn't Zoom it for that long. So that's why I couldn't do that either. So that was kind of a hard thing as well. And then, of course, it would cost money, and I wouldn't be able to get everybody to my house, like all of the big suppliers and everything, because they're all flying down from other states and countries to be able to be involved in this. So, but anyway, like I said, I hope it helps people, and I would really love to see you guys there. If you can't be there, that is totally okay. Don't feel bad at all. But, the offer, like I said, is there. So, and that's what we did online. So online, $69, and I think $220 is the ticket to be there. So I hope that really does help. Yeah, thank you, Teresa. Yeah, it does cost money, and you're right. And that's so nice that you understand that. So, and at the start, honestly, I couldn't get anyone to help fund it. So my husband and I took out a credit card. So everything, honestly, is on our credit card at this stage until people started buying tickets, and then some of that got paid back. But yeah, that's what happened because there was no help in Australia. There's actually zero conference for this in Australia to help anyone, zero. So, so we do have some great people. So I have Robin Soaphouse, and Robin is a teacher, and she does wholesale to other countries as well. So she is an amazing wealth of knowledge for soap makers that want to learn about how she did it, and she's going to talk about her whole story. So she's going to be amazing. Also Pure Candle Supplies, how they started a little business and now they ship in massive container loads. So that's for the candle makers. So yeah, so that's going to be really amazing too. They have a great story, and I know that you guys will get a lot of growth out of listening to them. But anyway, I've talked enough about it, so I hope I've helped everyone. And like I said, just go and grab your tickets because there is honestly not that many left. There's under 25 tickets. So look, I'm going to say 23, 24. I can't remember how many because we're in COVID, so we can't have hundreds of people. But as we go forward, we hopefully will take more people and be able to get it to a really big event. And then hopefully from there we can get you noticed. So, we want to get people noticed as well. So if you want to send me a picture, send it to my Instagram to me. Just privately message me because even if you're not in the conference, even if you're not there and you send me a picture and we really love the picture, we will put it in the book with your business name and details in it. So, and we already have a few people that have got their names and details in the book. So just take a picture of your candle or your bath bomb or your soap and just send it to me privately. And from there, I'll let you know if it gets in the book. So anyway, thank you everyone for listening. You're amazing. And I hope you all had a really good Chrissy and you had a really beautiful time with your families as I did. I definitely had a great time. And my daughter did make me a beautiful picture. She got it digitally enhanced of my dad and me. So it's a beautiful, beautiful photo, which is next to my bed now. So I did get a gorgeous, gorgeous gift. I got lots of gifts, but that is definitely one of my special gifts from my daughter, Abby. And my other daughter, Emily, helped, and my husband. I think they all sort of had a combined effort. But anyway, I hope you all had some lovely things and a lovely dinner. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Bye.